2. If you're using boxcutter, which is this icon over here, then you have the added benefit of it being able to work well with kitops 2 as well. So we'll start off by just drawing some shapes, just creating something. We'll switch this over to a join. Maybe drag a bigger box around it by changing with the D-pie what we're using. Press B to bevel, T to solidify. We'll just bring down some little notches. Press X to reset the mirror in hard ops, and we'll just mirror to the other side. And we'll do the same thing here. Just keep cutting little notches. And finally, we'll draw a box around everything. And first, I like to start off with red, and then press Y to change to extraction. And now we've extracted this. There's no feedback for it currently to let you know that you have extracted it besides the text in the bottom right. But if we press 2, we can jump over to our cutters collection and just enable the extraction. And this is all we need. So I will choose to, first I will set it under a directory that I would like to save it to. And we will just choose to create insert. And while creating insert, we'll just look at this in front view at numpad. And I love to tab into edit mode and actually just lower the cutter down into the mesh as far as I'd like it to cut, since there is a difference between how custom cutter handles things and the way kitops does. So now that we've turned it into a cutter through our panel here, we can actually just choose to save insert, and we'll choose to save this as extraction 1, and that will do. So if we look at this in camera mode, this is currently what we're looking at for our render result, which actually is acceptable. So we'll go ahead and just render our thumbnail for that. Wait a small second, and then we can just close our factory scene and we're back where we started. However, the other thumbnail wasn't actually the best looking thumbnail, so utilizing a little bit of hard ops, let's go ahead and adjust that. So I'm going to just choose to edit my thumbnail. Who cares about this file anymore? We'll just go ahead and sacrifice it. So now we are actually in the insert file itself. And the problem is that the thumbnail looks fairly generic, but now that we have hard ops and boxcutter enabled, we can actually get in here and first bevel it a little bit just to embellish our thumbnail. And then we'll look at our render result and we see that, you know, maybe a little blank material would go a long ways. Also, I didn't want to actually set it to a different, so we want to turn off auto select so we can select the main piece, and we want to alt click sharpen in order to just put a weighted normal on it. And now it actually has a good shading going on, even though we have this bevel modifier added. And this is just for the thumbnail itself. And so we'll render our thumbnail, and then we can just close the scene and we're back to the insert ourselves because we chose to edit our insert. But that's fine. Now we're actually back to a new scene. We'll press N and bring open our kitops panel. And just by going to our directory that we're looking for, we can just choose to just load our extraction that we made. Of course, for the normals, we can just hit it with something like sharpen and we're already good to go. We of course also want to turn off auto scale so that whenever we insert, we are able to actually insert it exactly at the size that we want, scaling it freely without limitation. But just like that, you're able to quickly reuse extractions with kitops 2, save them, and call them out whenever you desire. Another type of extraction that's enjoyable to reuse in kitops is we'll take this cube in edit mode and we'll right click and choose to subdivide. And by selecting this top point, we'll press Ctrl-Shift-B to just bevel, and we'll roll the wheel a couple of times just to add some additional segments, and we'll click to apply, but we'll press F to turn it into a singular face. And then by right clicking, going to loop tools and changing this to a circle, we can actually just extrude, scale it inward, and then choose to rotate it inside after extruding it in that direction. So we're just bringing the shape in and just playing with the extrusion, something like that. And then just to be different than the other times I've done this example, we'll press E and extrude that up. We'll also press Ctrl B, bevel that side. And so far so good. However, since we have hard ops, we'll choose to sharpen this We'll also give it a level of subdivision, but we don't have sharp increase enabled, so we'll just enable that using our control tilde, and then whenever we sharpen, we actually hold the parameter even though we have subdivision present, and this will just give us an additional level of kind of up-resing to the geometry. And so we'll select this one and unmark it, maybe add an additional loop here, add a loop here, and we'll just let sub D take that for us. We'll also bring a loop up top and put a loop here, and we'll just choose to unmark, and we also have a loop there. So another way I like to use boxcutter is pressing QOT to just create a shape from hard ops, and then turning on active only. And if we change this to be a wireframe selection and we select our cube, we could actually use snapping dots based off of our secondary selection. And the reason this is beneficial is there's no center dot due to us doing all this extruding on it. So by using a secondary object, we can just extrude this all the way down, cutting it out, press Y, extract, jump over to our extraction layer, which is our cutters, and this is what we have so far for our extraction, which is a little bit of a strange extraction, but let's play the gambit. Let's see what kitops gives us. So we'll take this and we'll choose to create an insert after choosing where we want to actually save this insert. So we'll choose to create insert, and it looks good like that, you know, in solid, like a car part almost. However, we'll tap into edit mode and bring it down and change it to a cutter, and ignoring the wireframe that we're looking at here, we can actually see what our insert is, which is this entire circle. So there's probably a better way we could have done it where we actually would have extruded it flat, but whatever case, we've resulted in a more unique insert than initially planned for. So we'll save this as circular 1, and now we've saved our insert. And if we were to choose camera to insert, our camera is now looking directly at the insert. However, I want to bring my camera back just a little bit, get a good vantage point. I'm always into experimenting when it comes to creating inserts. So this is what our current render results is looking like. We'll choose to render thumbnail, and after this button chooses to stop being orange, we can then close this scene, and we're then good to go. We can go back to our original cube and just select the cube and just add insert. And even though we have this extra ring about it, that's something that we could solve inside the insert itself. Let's say that I really wanted to, resulting in a different type of insert as well, by the way. So we will just edit the insert, and we're back inside the insert again. You know, hello insert, we meet again. Except this time we'll shade it as solid just temporarily. And I'm just going to press L, select this area, and remove it. And this is the area that we're looking at so far. And we'll just bring this up just a little bit so that the wedge is what's actually cutting in, and this top area actually no longer even has to exist. So we'll just select it and grow our selection, just press Control X. So now we have a different type of insert. So I'm going to go under the panel here, and if we save insert, it'll actually overwrite the previous one, so we don't want to do that. I'll press Control Shift S, and we're going to call this circular 2. And it's been saved. So the next thing from here logically is to just load our render scene, which is just us looking at our lonely little insert. So once we mark it as a cutter a second time, we override the wire that we had, and we could just scale this up. And this one more than likely is the type of insert you were expecting. So we'll just render our thumbnail and wait for that. Looks like there was no wait. I just have so much against cycles. So we'll render our thumbnail again and wait for it again. So once it's done, we'll just close our scene, and we're back to where we're modifying our insert. But I'm just going to press Control N and make a new scene to just show you that it's just that easy to get in here and begin creating inserts. And just like that, you can have a very small collection brewing quickly about to become a very large collection. We see that for this one, we forgot to shade it as wire in the original insert because we use hard ops to override it. So as far as troubleshooting goes, we'll go in, edit it again, shade it as wire, save it, and we will just make a new file. And we can just go under our kitops panel, locate our area, and bring in our insert. And with a little bit of sharpening, we can ensure that our surfaces come out looking good. In fact, I will turn off wire visibility so that way you can actually see what's going on here. And we'll just keep applying inserts. In fact, notice that even though the insert is more than likely selected, whenever I choose add insert, it does apply it to the target mesh. So that has been taken care of as far as allowing users to put inserts on inserts, which could be problematic. If you want to do such a thing, you'll need to remove the properties first. But just know that you can just continuously insert with peace of mind, knowing that your inserts are getting placed where you want and how you want it. And then of course, once you click and apply, you can choose to rotate this to perfection if you're needing to get even finer adjustments for it. But that is it in a nutshell, just showing some of the basics of using kitops with boxcutter.